one of these new warnings has had a chance to change very quickly. So what again we have is this line itself moving its way to the east, a tornado warning over on the west side there, just off to the west of Livingston County. What we can show you as well is really where each individual spot has been within these rotating areas. So what you've got right here are not just areas of rotation, but very strong winds. This bright spot that's just southeast of Lansing, that is going to roll its way along I-96, move into western Livingston County here shortly, and it will really continue to be those strong straight line winds. That's the first part of that. But what I want you to notice is in each of these little spots, see these little areas of red that keep popping up along the line, each one of these little areas, there are small eddies that can cause rotation. So you can see those happening up to the north toward the Owasso area, but for us, Livingston and Oakland, a big focus is on these straight line winds. That's going to be the issue. What we keep looking at too is where each one of these different warnings are. I keep glancing off to the side here because this is where I've got all my updated information that comes in. So some of these with the 70-mile-an-hour winds, I'm going to step off real quick. If we can pop this up full for everybody at home so they can see exactly what this radar looks like as well. We're going to bring that in full here for you, and that's going to give you a chance to see this a little more in depth with where the line is, and you can see the individual warnings there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to step off to the side here, get an updated info on how fast the line is moving. So it's moving really quite quickly. The issue is how fast they're going to be going. So here's what we're looking at. Let's bring it back all the way into the rest of it.
Detroit.
The main
This
part
is
is
the
going
next
to be
weather
all the way
alert
into the
update.
late portion as well. We're going to be watching real close how long this line takes to move its way off to the east. What we've got is about a 65-mile-an-hour line. That's the main part right here, so we can track this out for you. Let's take this. We're going to draw this right along the line, bring it down, and off to the east here at 65 miles per hour. That's how fast this whole line is moving, right there. So 65 miles an hour should be moving past the Jackson area shortly, moving toward Ann Arbor by about 12:30, Livonia closer to about 12:45, and Troy just short of 1 a.m. This whole line, at the rate that it's going, while it is going quickly, is not going to be done anytime soon. This is going to take a while to completely clear the area, and it's because of how it's going to evolve as it moves its way to the east. And that issue, again, is with this. This area right here is the watch, our tornado watch that goes all the way until 5 a.m. It's going to be a little while. Now, I do not expect it to last that long. I expect the line to clear the area by 3 a.m. But it's going to take some time to get there. And that's what you can see as well when we go back and forth with a lot of this. It's how long the whole thing takes before it really gets that chance to evolve. So let me back this up again here for you so you can see where that main highlight is when it comes down to it. You've got the leading edge right here, the small little storm. You've got the severe thunderstorm warning now for Livingston and Oakland counties. That's right here. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And again, that chance for the tornado warning to the west to move its way a little farther to the east and continue to make its way rolling. When you get a line like this evolving, and evolving as fast as it has, it really has a chance to spin up more within it than expected. And that's what we've already seen throughout the evening. At times, the entirety of this line has averaged almost 2,400 lightning strikes as well, lowering down now to 2,000 lightning strikes every 15 minutes. That's a lot, all within a short period of time. So we're going to continue to watch this very closely all the way into the late part of the overnight hours. In about an hour or so, meteorologist Troy Bridges will be joining me here. We're going to continue to make sure we're on top of this throughout the night. This is the very beginning of that stream, and we want to make sure we stick with you through it all the way through. So this central portion right here that's moving its way along 96, that's my main area of concern to start. It's not the only part of the line. The other section that we have to look at here is down to the southwest, and you can already see that to the west of Jackson. This is the second cell that I think will be a major issue for us as it moves in. So you've got one that's going to move along I-96 into Livingston and Oakland counties, eventually into Macomb County. You've got another cell that lines up to the west of Jackson out near the Marshall area. That will eventually make its way toward Ann Arbor, and then following up, we'll move farther east into Detroit. Those are the different ones that we have to look at as we go farther into the night. So while we have our first warning here, and we've begun our stream, of course, online, the stream is a little more laid back with us. We're going to track every individual cell. We're going to go a little more in depth with a couple different things here for you. It's a little bit more of a different pace compared to when we're, for instance, on TV tracking a tornado warning that's on the ground. This is something that you'll be able to stick with us all the way through, of course. But going up to the north here, you've got a lot more than just the 1 or 2 storms in that line. This leading edge, the hope anyway, is that this leading edge might be able to try and cut down a little bit on the fuel that this primary line is able to be eating up. That's one of the issues we've seen tonight. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more because I want to show you this part of the line that gives, I believe it's this portion here. We can draw this out right here. Perfect. There we go. Let's draw this one out. This one will give us the last cue for how much lightning just within the past 15 minutes. There we go. So in the past 15 minutes, we've had about 1,300 strikes. Most of them have been negative strikes. We do have some positive ones in there. What's the difference, though? You ever wonder, you see those strikes that are maybe more of a blue color, not the white color, or the purple, or they're very loud. Those are those positive strikes that we always get. That's one of the issues there. Checking in on a couple of these different warnings, making sure we don't have anything overly nasty there. We've got, again, Livingston, Oakland, that's included for us. The tornado warning to the west. There's another one up to the north, but we don't have any of the tornado warning cells for us just yet. Along that portion of the line, one of the things we look at here, this is called velocity. So this shows us not just the speed at which the cell itself may be going toward the Doppler radar, but also how fast toward or away it might be going also. So we get things like the bright spots here. They're very broad, strong, bright areas, but it shows intense straight line winds. You go up to the north, more of the same, but it also helps us look for things like this. See these little spots right here? This is something that could be trying to rotate. And while it's not a very tight area, it's within that tornado warned cell, both for strong winds, but also the chance there for a little bit of rotation. And that will move its way over toward the Stockbridge area as we go into the night. See, we can patch into different Doppler radars around the area back and forth. So you can see where that tornado warned cell is, more up to the north. We have severe thunderstorms right now, and it helps us to try and divide where are the strongest cells, where's the next one moving, how do things space out, and what type of an environment is going to be moving into. Like I said, our primary thing right here, we've got the tornado watch that goes until 5 a.m. 5 a.m. You need to make sure you have a way to get alerts or stick with us. Leave your live stream on. Grab a snack. Grab a midnight snack. Have an extra for me. And it's going to be something that will stick with us all the way through the night. But I want to make sure you're aware of what you can do if you get a tornado warning at your home. And like I said, any severe thunderstorm warning tonight, I want you to treat it as if it were a tornado warning. And I know that's probably something, getting some new data. I want to make sure I've got the updates there. Okay, so they're continuing the warnings up to our north. What I want to do to emphasize that is that each of these severe thunderstorm warnings tonight are not just regular straight line winds. They're stronger. A regular severe storm has 60-mile-an-hour winds. What we call a considerable storm has 70, and then you can get a destructive storm, which is 80. You also have, each of these storms tonight has had a chance to rotate, and several of them have and have caused touchdowns, like one that was in the vicinity of Battle Creek earlier downtown. Because of that, and because of how fast they can happen, every severe thunderstorm tonight, I want you to treat as if it were a tornado warning, because it's better to be in your safe place right off the bat than having to wait. If you are in a home that doesn't have a basement, an interior hallway, interior bathroom, underneath the stairs, an interior closet, away from windows, those are your safest places to be. Number one, away from windows and exterior doors. Best thing always is going to be a basement, though. More than anything else, your basement is going to be the safest place. But if you don't have one, there are safe places for you to be able to be at. That's something that we look at all the way through an event like this, is how can we make sure we've got people in the right spots, and that's one of the ways to do that. Make sure you know where to go when you get a strong warning like that. And with some of these strong winds, like I said, they're 70 miles an hour. You know, they're not these weaker gusts, and each one has a chance to cause really some very rapid issues like power outages, that kind of thing. So what we call right here, you see the tornado warning off to the west, Livingston County right on the line right now, 70-mile-an-hour winds, what we call the considerable tag for the storms. That line will move its way to the east and continue to roll into our westernmost counties. Jackson County right now has a warning. That cell will move in. Cell 1, Cell 2. These are the two that Southeast Michigan are concerned with. The main tornadic storms, again, are up to the north of the Flint area. You can see Saginaw County, Midland Bay County to the north. Those ones have tornado warnings. Genesee and Shiawassee do not. They've got strong severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm just watching this cell to make sure it doesn't spin up too much when it's trying to move its way a little farther to the east. I keep watching to see this little spot, but that bright spot right there is really a very strong area of straight line winds that is going to move its way along I-96 over toward the Handy area and eventually a little bit farther down toward Howell. So if you're in Livingston County, very strong straight line winds are going to be your primary concern first, followed by any type of small spin up risk. If you're in Stockbridge, or actually just to the west of Hamburg Township, these are areas, so actually out toward the Pinckney area. Yes, there we go. So our control room, we need to break in. We need to go full wall onto the air. Let me know as soon as we're out on CBS. To the crew in the back, we do have a tornado warning for us right now. So we're going to break in across the board. Okay, so let's get this set. Let me know as soon as we're on. For all of you that are here with us on the stream, our digital team is going to get the alert pushed out as well. We do have a tornado warning now issued for the area. Let's begin to track that right here. For all of you that are joining us, by the way, on CBS, I apologize for breaking into programming here for you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ahmed Badji here with CBS News Detroit. We have a tornado warning now that has been issued for Livingston County. It has been showing strong signs of rotation. This line has a history of dropping tornadoes on the ground. We had one that fell down or dropped down onto the ground actually about a half an hour ago, maybe a little more than that, just in the vicinity of downtown Battle Creek. So this is not a weak line. It has not had a chance to weaken. I understand that we're on the air right now, but this is not for a light reason. We'll jump back off as soon as we can. But where this cell is moving, right here, is moving into Livingston County. That's our latest tornado warning. This goes until 12:45. The whole tornado watch goes until 5 a.m. We've got a long time left for very strong wind gusts and that potential for more of these to rotate. So what we have right here within this tornado warned cell, we've got two things to look at. This bright spot right here that's moving along 96, if you're in Howell, if you're in Pinckney, you have two different issues. One is this bright spot for strong straight line winds that are stronger than 70 miles an hour. That's stronger than a baseline severe storm. That's not the normal strength. So you need to make sure you're inside away from windows. The other part is down here toward the Stockbridge area. There is an area of rotation right here. That is this portion where you can see that rotation. The reds, that shows wind that's going away from the Doppler radar, which is based on White Lake. The brighter greens show wind going toward the Doppler radar. Again, that's based out of White Lake. So you can get that different back and forth that we're looking at, away and toward, so that just plugs the gap for us to be able to see that rotation. So this is one of the cells that we're looking at right now that's going to move its way down along M52 toward the Stockbridge area. What I'm going to check now is specifically if there's any debris being lofted in the air there. I see this little spot right here that's just behind that area of rotation. That gives me a little bit of pause, if I'm honest. If you're in that area, from the Stockbridge area over into western Livingston County, you need to be in your basement or in a shelter right now. You do. If you're along the line and you get a severe thunderstorm warning, what I want you to do tonight, treat it like it's a tornado warning. These warnings go quickly. They're not slow. You need to make sure you're in your safe space very, very quickly as the line moves its way east. The line itself is moving at 65 miles per hour. So Livingston County right now has this tornado warning until 12:45. Rotation down towards Stockbridge. That'll move its way to the east, toward the Pinckney area, toward the Hamburg area, right throughout the township, right along 23. That exit just outside there again, you've got all kinds of different stuff, the different construction, of course, that's going on over by the McDonald's, for instance, out toward that Pinckney exit off of 23. Trust me, I know the area. These are different spots you need to be watching for this potential cell to move in. So what we're going to do is we're going to track this out so you can plan ahead for how long it'll take to move into your area. Because it's not just one individual spot rotating. The whole line has very damaging straight line winds. Severe thunderstorm warnings for Livingston and Oakland County as well are for 70+ mile-an-hour winds. Hail hasn't popped up as much. There's been a couple spots near golf ball size in the west side of the state. We haven't reached that. But what we're going to do right here is we'll draw this out and bring it out to the east at 65, and that should give us a pretty good ETA for the initial part of this line. So into the Flint area by 1223, Waterford, give or take about 5 minutes. Okay, so give or take about 5 minutes. This cell should be into Waterford by about 1239. Ann Arbor, close to about 1245. Again, it's give or take 5 minutes, the way that this whole thing moves. It can adjust. Livonia, a little closer to 1 a.m. Warren, a little after 1 a.m. That's how the strong straight line winds are moving and those tornado warned cells. You can see a new update coming in here just now with where each one of those are kind of pushing. Our primary issue right now is within this spin up spot right along I-96 and just down to the south, moving into Livingston County, which is where it's going now. You've got the very strong straight line right here in this bright spot, moving into the western part now. You have rotation right here, now east of Stockbridge. Remember how I said it's moving so fast? There it is right here. Let's see if we've got any additional spots popping up when it comes to debris. There is a little spot right here. This gives me pause. Genuinely, it's a little bit of a concern. If it matches up here, it's close. It's real close for where that could be at. And I think it just might be. So we have this tornado warning for Livingston County for the straight line winds heading toward Howell, but this specific spot right here, what this does is it looks for things that are tumbling in the air that aren't the same size and shape. Like raindrops. Those are all the same. That would be a broad area of purple or red and purple. When you get these brighter colors, you're looking at more things that are not the same shape, like tree branches, that kind of thing, that can be lifted into the air. That's something we're looking at here. I believe that that has a chance actually to be moving its way a little farther to the east. Within that spot of rotation, within that spot that could be debris, the Unadilla area is in the path of that. Forgive me, but right to the east of that is going to be hell. From the east of that is going to be right along the county line, of course, as we move our way just to the north of Hudson Mills. So that might be a spot to watch for just in the southwest portion of the county. I think it's close. I know the Weather Service has not confirmed that yet, but I'm going through every single part of the checklist that I've got right now, and each one is lining up pretty well with where we're within that range. I really do think we might have a little brief one that's on the ground right now in southwestern Livingston County. So if you're in Livingston County specifically, both along 96 and Howell because of the straight line winds, get indoors, obviously away from windows, head to your safe space because the straight line winds are very strong. Southern part of the county, both from the Unadilla area over toward Hell, over toward Hamburg, make sure you're in your safe place there. Your lowest portion of your home, basement's great. If you're not able to get to that spot, we actually have a way to show you exactly what that is. I can pop this up here for you right now. Depends on what your home is like, right? So if you have a single floor home, a hallway, interior bathroom away from windows, underneath a staircase, an interior closet, those are good spots to be at. Your basement is always going to be your safest place. You want to make sure that that's a spot you go to. But again, if you don't have one of those, these are the green, good to go spots if you have a chance to get into those interior places. Again, southern Livingston County, that's the primary spot. I-96 toward Howell, that's the straight line winds. Make sure you're in your safe place in any of those areas because the winds themselves are also really quite intense. Up to the north, where that is trying to swing its way through, that's not our concern. Our second cell, if you are in Ann Arbor, Dexter, Chelsea, I want to make sure that you're aware of where, and I think I was hearing some sirens outside our studios actually. So you can hear that I've been hearing that as well just because of the strong winds that have been moving their way through. So from Jackson, that cell to the west is going to move its way along I-94. Believe there are. I think there might be sirens outside. So that is going to move its way to the east. Ann Arbor, Dexter, Chelsea, Manchester area. That is cell number 2. Cell number 1 is moving through Livingston right now. That's the tornado-warned cell with also stronger than 70-mile-an-hour straight-line winds. All of that's the concern. And that's going to be something that'll continue here for a while. Got to unbutton the jacket. It's just getting way too warm here for tonight. So when that rotation moves its way a little farther to the east, once it dies down, we'll be able to let you go. But we're going to stay on our stream here for tonight as well. And the thing is, this isn't weakening yet. That spot is still there. And if that continues to move eastward, all right, that's dying down. That's good. So we see the little bit of rotation, but the debris spot isn't quite there anymore as it moves off to the east toward the Hamburg area. Again, if you're in the Hamburg Township region, get in your cover there. If you're out toward Pinckney, get in cover there as well. This cell is not something that has been trying to weaken very much. If you're out toward Howell, the strong straight line winds, you can see that off to the northwest. The Highland to Heartland area as well, those straight line winds move toward you. You can see how bright that is moving its way eastward. And it's moving again at about 65 miles per hour. And we can draw that out so you know exactly where this thing is going. You may get a thunderstorm first. You can see that first line. The primary ones are right here. And while they work their way to the east, this is about how fast they're going. About 65 miles per hour. Let's bring this off to the east right here. There we go. So into the White Lake area now by 1235. Close. Definitely very close. Ann Arbor by 1246, Farmington Hills by 1250, Warren by 107. If we can pop this up full screen, actually, for everybody at home. Definitely want people to be able to see this as well. By the time that moves its way a little farther to the east, unfortunately, it'll get a chance, or rather, fortunately, it'll get a chance to die out. But once it does, that will be able to clear us, and it's not giving us that signal yet. I want to be able to let you go, I do, but until that thing stops rotating, we cannot do that. With the strength of the winds and with that spot of rotation, that's the reason this warning is here for. And I've got new data coming in off to the side right here. They're continuing that warning here for another couple of minutes. That's still going, and then 2 more warnings up to the north with that potential touchdown from earlier in Battle Creek. So for those of you that were unaware of the strength of this line off to the west, there have already been several touchdowns, including one that was in the vicinity of downtown Battle Creek. That's how serious tonight is. So we want to make sure we're here for you and we're giving you all of the information we can every moment. I'm getting new data every second. We have spotters that are in the field that are sending me information every couple of minutes. So that's the important part, is these winds and these areas of rotation roll in. Because once you look at this and you can see where that spot rolls through, actually that's a good one to be able to show you. You can see it right there rolling its way down here. You can see it trying to rotate up a little bit more again as it heads toward Hamburg. So again, that's the southern part of the line, straight line winds now moving along I-96. If you are listening to us, or if you're on the road for whatever reason, don't stop underneath an overpass. The worst thing you can do. You cannot do that. Not only does it back up traffic, and that can get very dangerous, we've seen that several different times, but wind acts like a funnel going through underneath one of those. That's why it's such a dangerous thing. So you need to make sure that you stick with this all the way through. If you're out on the road, get off of the road. If you're in any of these areas where these cells are going to move through, find a place to shelter now, a place like a gas station, just something more nearby. You don't want to have to be on the roadway when you're in the middle of something like this, especially when we have this moving through. That little spot is still down there. I think it has a chance. I think it might have lifted. It's not as bright as where it was before, but we can see off to the west where it was. That was right there. We'll watch that little spot pop up again right there. So really, really quick on the ground. I don't see the bright area depicting the heavy debris anymore. Our last area of tight rotation here, that's trying to lift its part away. Going through the checklist here. Want to make sure we've got everything up. But the strongest portion of the cell now moving just along M36. And if you're within that spot, by the way, we can actually go in a little closer and give you some of the better information of where the worst of it is at. It's not just M36 that we're looking at. Sometimes some of those localized roads will pop up, of course, so it's just outside of where the school is as well. You can see it's just to the southwest of there. But the line, while it's got these strong straight line winds stronger than 70 miles an hour and those spots of rotation that have now caused our first tornado warning of the night in southeast Michigan. It's something you need to make sure you take it seriously. And the way this system is curving, that's something we can show you too. Look at how the cell starts off here and how it's not as intense north of 96 anymore, but now it is down to the south. See that, how it kind of curves a little bit? That's a sign of basically the classic supercell. They're not the regular type of severe thunderstorm warnings. They're something stronger, what we call a considerable or a destructive tag storm. Right now it's a considerable tag. It's not the same level. You can see right here the tornado warning trimming down from where that leading edge of the line is moving to the east. The reason for that is it makes that little right-hand turn, that clockwise turn, because of how strong it is. That's a telltale sign meteorologists look at. It's not just, hey, there's a storm, hey, it's moving a certain direction. It's if it's making that bit of a turn, that's a sign that it's a lot stronger than a normal baseline cell. That's why we have to stick with it, because it can change genuinely in seconds, not just one step after another. It's not some drawn out thing. And that's the main part that we're sticking with here as well. So you can see where those areas of very strong straight line winds have now expanded down to the south. That's an example. It's not just the one tight spot anymore, it's several different areas. There is this one spot just to the west here, right along M36, and I would bet that it's not there anymore. I bet it's actually a little farther to the east now at this point, because it was right here, and based on that east at 65 miles per hour rate, I would bet it's right about here now, west of that lake area. So that will be one of the main spots that it's moving as it continues on a basically direct easterly course. The next spots that we'll move into are the Lakeland area. Make sure you're in cover there. After that, it's going to be the Hamburg area. Make sure you're in cover there. That's the main portion of rotation we're watching. The strong straight line winds are up to the north. This is the very first cell of the two primaries we're looking at for southeast Michigan. That's cell number 1. Cell number 2 is off to our southwest, right here, moving into Jackson very shortly. And once it does that, areas like Chelsea and Dexter, Ann Arbor will be in the path of that. I know this warning's getting cut down a little bit. We have the severe thunderstorm warning for Oakland County. This is the initial line. That's not the primary line. The main one is right here. Strong wind gusts over 70. If you hear the sirens sound at home, it's not necessarily just because of a tornado warning. It could be because of that. Severe thunderstorm warnings of greater than 70 can cause damage similar to a weaker tornado. That's why the sirens may sound for you there. Some places sound them at 75 miles per hour, some sound them at 70, some wait until 80. But there are different levels. They're meant also for people outdoors, not just for somebody that's inside your home. Sirens are supposed to be for people that are indoors. But that's why one of the things that we look at, and the reason we stick with this, is because it can evolve very quickly. And you'll notice that that warning was cut down 2 minutes ago. The line is already now halfway through that updated spot. That's why this thing is moving quickly, actually, across the region. And this portion, this line right here in Oakland County, 70-mile-an-hour winds, up to 3/4 inch size hail, tornado possible to expand into Oakland County. That's what that says. So it's not just Livingston, it's going into Oakland shortly. If you are in, let's see who else is right along the line, Wixom, make sure you have your severe weather plan prepped and ready. Make sure you know where to go if the warning goes and extends into your area. Novi would also be included in that potential risk. The tornado warning is just to your west, of course. You've got time, but if you're in any of these spots, you want to make sure you have ways to get alerts, of course. Stick with us here, because if that continues to expand to the east, it can move very quickly into those regions. And the main part we always keep checking right here is where that rotation keeps popping up. One thing I'm looking at here is it's not a tight area of rotation near Hamburg anymore. It's broadening out into a larger area of wind, but you've got the strong wind gusts up to the north. For me in northwestern Washtenaw County, there are little spots like right here to the north of the Scioto area, northeast of Chelsea. So that's actually north of Dexter. This would be a spot that may get a chance to try and tighten up and spin. You can see how it's starting to brighten up a little bit right next to each other. So we may see our next spot pop up in northern Washtenaw County and not just continue into Oakland. That's the main part of how this whole thing pops out. I was talking a moment ago about how these cells kind of make that turn. That's a sign. That's one of the things we look at. You can see how it starts to make that pulse down to the right of the storm. We're already seeing that effect. So going toward the Ann Arbor area, you'll likely get some much stronger winds. We already have that again up to the northwest in Livingston County, western Oakland County. We'll get the main line here shortly. You're already seeing the first little bit of that as it moves up to the northeast. And let me get an updated speed on this line because I want to make sure we're timing this out at the right rate. You can see how many individual tornado warnings we actually have within the line right now. We've got one of them, 2 more up to the north. We've already had several touchdowns. The latest one right here, for the latest speed, I want to make sure we've got this timed out just right, is giving me east at 65 still. So that really is not changing speed. That's part of the reason that we've been saying it hasn't really weakened all night. We were talking just earlier at 11 o'clock during our broadcast that it has not weakened all night long, and that's part of a good example of why. So we can draw this out, draw it out to the east at 65. Make sure we've got this lined up just right. There we go. Your latest ETAs, White Lake, 1236. Really not much of a change there. Ann Arbor, 1244. Canton by 1253. Again, give or take about 5 minutes. So understand, when you're within the vicinity of that time frame, you're heading to your shelter then. Sterling Heights by about 103. Right downtown by about 110, 111. So that's how long it'll take for that line to get there. Our watch goes until 5 a.m. It will not be needed that long. The line is going fast enough that it'll be able to clear the area well before that. We're going to be done long before that, probably closer to about 2:30 or so before this thing finally gets its way out of here. Again, the watch itself for all of us continues until 5 a.m. We'll be done with it long before then, but because it is a tornado watch and because we already have had several different warnings and we still have another, it's a good reminder, best places to be, underneath the stairs, hallway, closet, interior bathroom, away from windows. Best place to be is obviously your basement. Always do things like bring a blanket with you, bring a pillow, good spots to be at because you're going to be there for a minute. These are the safe places to be. Areas in red, no good. You want to make sure you're in those green spots. If you're worried or if you have storm anxiety about being in a single-story home, if you don't have a basement, I understand, but these are spots that are much safer than doing nothing, and honestly, they actually do work. So make sure, again, you're in those spots if you end up in a tornado-warned cell. But I've been saying all night, if you get a severe thunderstorm warning, I want you to treat it as if it were a tornado warning. And that sounds weird, and that sounds probably like I'm sitting here just going, whoa, but it's for a reason that each of these severe thunderstorm warnings has had a chance to spin up very quickly, and they have a history of doing that. I would rather you be in a safe spot already than having to wait for a siren or an alert or something like that to come down later. So we're going to switch things back to here, our main radar, to be able to show you that. Latest update coming in from up north. It looks like the Midland area trying to get rid of their tornado warning. We still have ours here for a little while longer. Got an update coming in from one of the spotters in the field. They're continuing to actually track damage from just out west. So they're looking at some of the damage out toward Battle Creek. I'm going to show this right here. We're going to bring in our rotation. There's our new warning for Washtenaw County right here. Severe thunderstorm warning at a strength of 60, but with a tornado possible if that continues to swing its way down to the southeast. That's one of the things we're looking at. As soon as this thing is done and this rotation is done, we'll be able to let you go, but we cannot do that yet. I hope you understand. We can't do that until the rotation is done. We're talking less than 5 seconds is all the time it takes for that rotation to occur. That's how long. Right here, we've got a couple of spots still with that rotation just to the west of Hamburg. It's broadening out. You go up to the north, the bright spot right here, that one's going to be moving into the Cohocton area, Deer Creek, the Deerfield Center area, and Oak Grove. Strong straight line winds. We're talking that 70-mile-an-hour straight line wind. That's that bright spot. Pretty easy to see. That'll move its way into your area here shortly if you're not already experiencing it. And if we take a wider view right here, we can go just a little bit down to the south. We still have these spots you can see right here that try and pop up. Little bursts within there, you get these stronger areas of wind gusts even out ahead of that main portion of the cell. You go right down to the south. The line right here is going to pulse into the northwestern part of Ann Arbor. This is another area of stronger wind just because it's bowing out. You can see the shape of it, kind of like a bow for a bow and arrow. That's going to move its way down to the southeast. Ann Arbor, so the Washtenaw County area has a severe thunderstorm warning, but I'm watching that south of Jackson, right along 127. That little spot is the reason Washtenaw County has a severe thunderstorm warning that says tornado possible, because that area of rotation can strengthen as it moves into the county. So we're trying to look ahead, not just what's happening in the moment. Don't want to just talk about right now, but also what can come next. And that's the next portion, that little dot that may not seem like much, but it can be the next big thing with it. Up toward Heartland, stronger wind gusts moving in. Oakland County, that first little bit of the line, that's moving out. These little spots as well that you can see right here. You're not in a tornado warning in Oakland County, but these little spots can be real quick, sudden wind gusts, not necessarily rotation, but real quick hits of wind. Those can cause outages and even cause a couple of trees down as well. And that's part of the main thing that we look at within that cell. So let me pop this back on in and show you that main portion that we really want to keep an eye on. It's not just this leading edge, but this portion right there. I wonder if this leading edge might be able to weaken that part down enough. This is going to suck up a lot of the moisture. This thing follows and won't have enough to be able to eat off of, and that's going to be a good thing right there to be able to get rid of. So while that continues to the east, we've got all that lightning within it. Make sure you're indoors, away from windows, lowest portion of your home. We're going to time this out one more time for you. And let's actually bring it up full screen for the people at home, by the way, so we can actually show them what we're talking about. There we go. We got that up full there for you. We're going to draw this out. Bring this out to 65. There we go. There's the latest one. Let's leave that up there so they can see the latest timeline for you. Sterling Heights really hasn't changed much. That one's by about 108. And you can see where those next updates are for areas like right downtown. That one's about 10 minutes later, which isn't a drastic change, but it is a little bit of a delay. That tells me that it's not only trying to slow down a bit, but also give us a little bit more of a push. Let's see. Fowlerville, that one was real close right there. So a couple of circulations that we're moving through. It looks like we may have had that one that we were talking about earlier may have actually been confirmed to be on the ground. We're going to try and talk to some of the emergency responders out there and see if they've got anything that may have gone through. That'll be something to look at. All right, that's going to move its way off to the east right there. All right. And as that continues off to the east of about 65, I'm just doing a real quick math in my head, this should clear the line within about the next 10 minutes. That'll move on into then western Oakland County, and we'll need to see what the White Lake National Weather Service office does then, if they keep it as the severe thunderstorm warning or they keep a tornado warning trying to advance to the east. The reason right here that Washtenaw County, again, is looking at this much stronger severe thunderstorm warning with this tornado possible tag. You don't have one there, but it's this portion off to the west right here that you can see this little spot. Let's see if it still pops up right there. It actually is still there. The one to the northwest of Columbia, that area of rotation will move its way east toward the Manchester area. We got time, but that's our next one to look at because it's already showing signs of trying to tighten up, and you can see what I'm talking about with this. What we look at is actually areas like this red and green. The red shows the air moving away from the radar, which is in White Lake. Green shows it going toward. So you can see this right next to each other. You plug the gap, and now you have that rotation. That shows that area of circulation that we have to watch very closely that'll move to the east, again, very quickly, 65 miles per hour. That's no slouch. And that's part of the reason tonight's one of those tricky ones to try and track because they move so quickly. This Boeing segment down toward Ann Arbor, that one is going to be another tricky one to look at because the main area of rotation, again, in Livingston County is coming to an end, but this portion right here can cause little spin-ups within little eddies of the line. So if you're in northern parts of Washtenaw County, if you're in Ann Arbor, you don't have a tornado warning, you have a severe thunderstorm warning, but I think it's the safest thing to do. Just head to your safe spot right now. Gives you time to get there. You don't have to rush. Grab yourself a midnight snack when you're on your way. That is probably the best thing to do because it gets you into your safe spot, at least for now. The line is moving fast enough, you won't have to stay there all night. It'll clear out very quickly. But you can see where that's really trying to pulse its way through. There's the latest radar update. But just beneath the warning on the county line, you see these little reds starting to brighten up a little bit northwest of the Warden area, heading towards Salem. These are spots that really try and build in some of that strength. So if you're in the Salem area, I'm going to be watching real close for you because that's where some rotation is trying to pop up now. That'll move its way from the Salem area to the north, off toward Northville, which has a lot of time left, but you have some rotation there. We're also still looking at the one tornado warning that's going to see if it will move into Oakland County. Right now it's trying to hold off. You've got another one, again, these areas of rotation in Columbia, and then off to the west right here, just over the county line. In Jackson County, you've got 1, 2, 3 spots that are starting to rotate right now, and those may be the newest areas that start to get highlighted. But again, this tornado warning goes until 12:45. We're almost to that point. That's going to be done here shortly, and we'll be able to stay then on the stream as we go on through the rest of the night. Oakland County, like I said, as this portion of the line moves in, and it continues to cross the county line, this is all new. So we do have a brand new tornado warning. Okay, new tornado warning now for northern Oakland County. That's that main cell that we were just talking about. If you are in Waterford, Independence, I can see right where the thing is at right now. Davisburg, Springfield, White Lake. If you're in the Brandon area, Oxford. If you're in Auburn Hills, head to your basements now. These are the spots that are included in this brand new tornado warning. We now have 2 in effect for our area, so this is not done. Like I was saying, we get these new spots popping up. Here's our new one. We can see it right now. This is that area of rotation. Very easy to see. It's right there. Let's see if we have anything that's trying to touch down with it. Good news is I don't see anything on the ground, but there's just enough that we've been seeing that rotation, and now they're calling it 2. This yellow highlight, even this little orange dot right here, these show spots where we see not just the rotation in the air, but also more intense rotation. You need rotating air to create hail. You do. That's how a stronger storm can make it act basically like your vacuum. Keeps it spinning around, keeps that suction going. This shows a higher intensity, and that's part of the things that we look at. So not only now do we have the one tornado warning that was for Livingston County that is expiring. Yes, so the tornado warning for Livingston County has been canceled. Tornado warning now for northern Oakland County. That includes, again, Waterford, White Lake, all the way over to Auburn Hills. Make sure you are in your shelters there. Now is the time to act. Grab your gear, head to your basement. That's the lowest portion of your home. If you don't have a basement, head to the central portion of your home. That's as far away from windows as you can get. Underneath the staircase, for example, if you do have an upper level, or centralmost portion of your home, normally there's a closet or an interior bathroom. Those would be safer spots to go as well. Get away from windows. If you have an interior bathroom, the bathtub, get in the bathtub. Don't turn it on, just get in the bathtub. That's one of the safest places to be as well. So we again have one new tornado warning. Northern Oakland County, the cell itself is crossing I-75. And that is right there, where this red dot is right here. That's going to be crossing I-75 here shortly. We can go in real close actually and see where it's at. It's moving right along this road, and I'm trying to remember which road that is, forgive me. That's going to be moving right along here as it jogs its way a little farther to the east. That bright red spot right there, that's one we're looking at, where we're all surrounded by the green, moves its way here just to the south of I-75. And as it does so, that's going to work all the way to the north of the Doppler radar. That's what this circle is down here. That's the Doppler radar in White Lake at the National Weather Service office. It's going to go just to the northwest of the Springfield area. You've got Pontiac down here as well. That'll move basically directly east and try and stay just south of Oxford. I think the latest update on the speed, I've got this right here. Let's see what this next one is. Oakland County's latest update. Okay. Good, so we've got 55. So that specific cell is just again southeast of Holly. That's moving to the east at 55. Should be close to Ortonville by 12:35 and close to Oxford again by about 12:40. So that's that main time with it. So east, we can do this part then. East at 55. Let's draw this out. Okay, we're going to need a larger track than that, unfortunately, because it's moving so quickly. Let's bring this out, bring this over. And let's cone it up. There we go. Move this east at 55. Don't tell me I still need more space. I do. It's moving that fast. There we go. And don't forget Washtenaw County. I still want you to head to your shelters as well because there's area of rotation just to the west of you in Jackson County. I want you in your safe places as well because it's just close, actually, along that line. Okay, now we should be good. Bring this out to these. There we go. Okay, so east of 55, that'll bring you just into the Independence Township area by about 10. Auburn Hills, it's close, but I think for the most part it's going to track on the northern side more toward Oxford. The reason this is more of a cone like that is because you can still have a little bit of a change in direction from where that cell can go. But that is our primary tornado warned cell in northern Oakland County. This right here that's moving over into western Washtenaw, I think has a chance to get warned sometime within the next half hour. The one from Livingston County moving into southern Oakland County right now, that's moving toward Novi, over toward the Salem area as well, I think has a chance to say mainly is just straight line winds. That's probably better positive actually for us right now because that, again, with where those winds are, you know what? I may have to correct myself. It might not be able to stay as straight line winds. That's a strong area of winds that are moving into Salem right now. You don't have a tornado warning right now in the Salem area nor in Northville, but if you're in Salem or Plymouth or Northville, basically anywhere along Haggerty, even in there as well. Beck Road, make sure you're in your shelters also because this is starting to show signs of rotating actually a little faster than I thought it was going to. So again, that rotation is right on top of Salem right now, and that's going to be your new one moving to the east to try and move right between Northville and Plymouth. That's the spot that's starting to rotate now. And we do again have that one warning here, a strong severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds that'll move toward Farmington Hills. And you have the tornado warned cell right here that's in northern Oakland County. Let's see. It looks like that one area of rotation is trying to weaken, and it is weakening a bit, but it's right in here. That's that main spot. I can actually open that up here for you. Right in here. That's that rotation. Very broad. And if we look for any type of debris, I don't see any bright spots. I see some hail. I see hail within there, but I don't see the debris, which is definitely a major positive for us. But again, northern Oakland County, you need to be in your shelter now. The reason you get a tornado warning without one on the ground, seconds. We're talking seconds for something to be able to spin up and drop. Much faster than a warning can go out. We worked with the Weather Service a couple months ago and found out how fast they can issue a warning. They issue it in less than a minute, but that's still a minute compared to seconds. So we want you in your shelters right now within northern Oakland County, anywhere north from Auburn Hills, Waterford. Draw that line. If you're north of there, that's where you need to be in your sheltered locations at the moment. So the line itself right here moving toward West Bloomfield, Novi, much stronger stuff there. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning issued for all of Wayne County. Let's see, Wayne County's severe thunderstorm warning also is going to be probably a stronger one too. And it is 60-mile-an-hour winds, the potential for spin-ups within there as well. So that means that there is always that risk that can pop up within those individual cells as well. That's something that we look at. In Wayne County, you're no different from there. Washtenaw County, that line with some rotation is going to move into your area shortly. It's already heading toward the Manchester area. Oakland County, the line is now centering up with Waterford down to just west of Wixom. That's for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. You have the tornado warning in northern Oakland County right now. That one is for an area of rotation that's going to be moving just to the south of Oxford, and all of that marching its way east before we get up toward Lapeer County. Lapeer now also has a tornado warning. So we have two individual cells that are now tornado warned. Lapeer County has a tornado warning now until 1:30. Let's see where that's at. Okay, so there's a couple of spots within Lapeer County right now. So you can see one that's off to the west of Lapeer County in eastern Genesee. That one's a bigger one. Actually, that one might be trying to do something real quick too. If you're outside of the Goodrich area that's going to be heading into western Lapeer County here shortly, that spot right there is where that rotation is popping up. Debris-wise, that's on the ground. Okay, so we can make this call. This tornado is not confirmed by the National Weather Service. That is on the ground, without a doubt. That's going to be moving into western Lapeer County here shortly. It's just north of the Goodrich area. It's moving along M15. moving into western Lapeer County, north of Hadley. That is the debris. Without a doubt, it has just crossed M15 north of Goodrich, moving into western Lapeer County. So we have one confirmed on the ground. I'm going to check northern Oakland County. I don't want to forget about you because we're going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit. Broad, bright spot. I know you're in the tornado warning right now in northern Oakland. I do not see a big concerning spot. I don't. But again, like I said, it can happen quickly. I need you in cover because we're going to have to focus a little more on this one spot that is confirmed down. I'm going to check on Washtenaw real quick. Not broad, but in Salem, that rotation is continuing. That's going to move its way to the east. So if you're in Salem, Plymouth, Northville, I need you in your shelters now. That rotation's getting tighter, especially if you're in Northville. Make sure you're in your shelters there. In Livonia, also, on the north side of 96. Let's go back up to the north right here. There's that rotation. All right, let's pop this up. Yeah, there it is. All right, that is the touchdown east of M15. All right, let's pop this up actually full screen so people at home can see this. I want to make sure they can actually see this really well. Right here is where that area of debris is. Moving to the east. And let me get a speed track on that here for you. I want to make sure we've got the updated information. That is definitely on the ground, I would say. I'm checking in with my spotters real quick. Yep, right there. Yes, it does look like it's on the ground from one of our spotters. It does look like it is officially confirmed there. That one's moving east, making sure we've got the speed at also 55. Again, moving into western Lapeer County right now. That is the debris. Okay, so let's bring it back out here. So that's the main debris portion moving into Lapeer County. Northern Oakland County, still no debris signature that I'm seeing there. But again, I want you in your cover, especially if you're out toward the Oxford area. That's where this line is getting a little closer. You can see right here these areas of red embedded in the green. Those are broad areas of rotation, but each one of those is an individual cell, especially this one right here. That's a supercell. We go up to the north. This rotation's trying to die down. I think it might have lifted just in time as it moves into Lapeer County. Let's see the debris. Still pretty broad, but trying to tighten up a little bit. That's the debris right now, just to the northwest of Hadley. It's in Lapeer County. That is on the ground, continuing to move its way to the east. So make sure you are in your shelter if you are in Lapeer County, east of M15. And we're going to head down, not Oakland County directly. You've got some rotation, but it's not very tight. This one's going to be real close. All right, yeah, again, like I said, in Northville, you need to, Plymouth especially, actually downtown Plymouth, you are real close to getting these stronger winds there. And the way that this kind of has a little bit of a notch forming in it, that is a telltale sign it's starting to try and tighten up. And the reason is this. You can see it right within that notch. That's where it's trying to tighten up a little bit. So please, if you're in Plymouth, if you're in Livonia, along I-96, you need to be in shelter now because this is one of those spots that's really trying to tighten up a little bit more. All right, let's go back up to the north real quick. Washtenaw County, you're good. Those areas of rotation have died down. Right up here, you've got eastern Oakland County. Nothing majorly rotating there, but I want you still in your shelter. If you are in, let's say, if you are in White Lake, Davisburg, anywhere in the northwestern quadrant of Oakland County, you're clear. You're good. You're done. You can come out of shelter now. Up in Lapeer County, still rotating. It's still close. That debris ball is still there. North of Hadley, either that's trying to lift and it's staying stuck right in that cloud, but it's still just too tight. That's going to head toward M24. Just to the north of Farmers Creek. That is absolutely on the ground. That is an easy spot to see. We use these different types of Doppler radar to be able to see things that aren't uniform in size and shape and maybe tumbling in the air. A raindrop, pretty easy to see. Size and shape is pretty similar. Sometimes you get hailstones that may pop up. They're different sizes and shapes. Things like tree limbs, debris, different sizes and shapes, also tumble in the atmosphere. That's what this shows. Very likely that we're seeing debris within that right now. So something to look at here as we go on into the rest of this is that's one spot heading again toward the Hunters Creek area. That is absolutely one that's been on the ground. While down in northern Oakland County, I don't see much that's been there. All right. I still haven't put a confirmation tag on that yet. But we cannot forget about this spot. I'm kind of surprised that nothing's popping up there just yet. But that is a strong area of wind moving through Plymouth heading toward Livonia. Definitely a strong area of wind right on top of Plymouth and actually Northville as well. That'll be lined up with 275 by now. So our scan goes through, Doppler radars, the way they're designed, normally it takes a couple of minutes to go through a full scan of the atmosphere. When we're in severe weather like this, it happens usually every 60 to 90 seconds, which is very quick. But it's still not quick enough. So you got the bright spot here, moving through Plymouth, heading toward Livonia, right along 96. That area is very strong with the winds and also showing signs of rotation. The one up in Lapeer County, that's another tornado warning. You can see the two individual warnings that we have right now, two separate cells. This one right here, again, in Lapeer County, still showing that sign, still showing a little bit of the debris signature right here. Would not be surprised if that's going to continue actually a little bit more. And what I want to do is while that's moving its way a little bit farther to the east, we're going to pop this out and give you another estimate on most of the time for the line moving into your area so that you know when it will be arriving in your neighborhood. Let me draw this out for you. All right, and if we can pop this up full so they can see this at home, so they can plan ahead. Let's draw this out, draw it to the east, bring it out to 65. There it is, and there's the latest, all right? You still got those two tornado warnings. You have several different severe thunderstorm warnings. Here's your latest ETA in that black box. That shows you the latest update on some of those times as they're moving their way to the east. Getting a quick update also from the National Weather Service talking about that individual cell. They had some larger hail that was falling around the Flint area also. That's moving its way a little bit farther to the east along I-69, recommending do not travel simply because of how strong that is. Let's see. Getting one more update as well. Where's Bloomfield there? Okay, good. All right, we're going to erase this and bring this back. And also, while we pop up this velocity data to look at some of these spots, hang on a second. West Bloomfield. This is something we're looking at. Can you see right here this little notch in the line? It's real close. That's a real quick tightening actually in the line, a lot faster than down in the Salem area. If you're in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, head to your shelters now. If you're in Troy, also, head to your shelter there. If you're in Bloomfield Hills especially, right where Telegraph makes that jog right before it makes that ramp over towards 75, that's rotating actually really quick. We do not have a tornado warning on that, but it's rotating actually relatively fast. If you're in Bloomfield Hills and in the Troy area, I want you in shelter now, especially if you're along Telegraph, along 24 there. Still got the strong winds, not rotating as strong, but very strong straight line winds moving into Livonia. So we've got the one touchdown up in Lapeer County that we've had already. We can see the debris. I can see that rotation right here that's trying to move its way toward Bloomfield Hills. You can see how the wind is getting sucked into that one central spot, right? You can see this little notch right here, right near Orchard Lake and Pontiac Trail, moving to the east toward Telegraph. That's the spot. It just moved over that intersection of Orchard Lake and Pontiac Trail in West Bloomfield, south of Kego Harbor, heading toward Bloomfield Hills. There's Woodward right here, and that little spot is going to continue to the east. Let's see if we've got any of this additional shear along with it. We do. There's that yellow spot right here. That indicates more of that tightening of the velocity. I don't see anything direct. It's too hard of a signal within there. It's hard to see. A lot of this is all just going to be that air out ahead of it. I don't see a direct signature within there of anything on the ground, but that is absolutely an area of rotation trying to move toward Bloomfield Hills. So again, Bloomfield Hills, Troy, make sure you're in shelter there. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning that highlights the chance for a quick spin up. So it makes sense. Head to your shelter within, again, Bloomfield Hills over toward Troy, right along Telegraph, over toward Woodward, just to the east there where Pontiac Trail. And yep, they're okay. So there we go. They just jumped on it. Tornado warning, brand new one just on top of us here for Bloomfield Hills, Troy. They just jumped on top of this here for this tornado warned storm. Let me get you an ETA on this arrival. If we can pop this up full for everybody at home so they can see this brand new one, northern or central portions there of Oakland County, from West Bloomfield to Bloomfield Hills over toward Troy. That's our latest tornado warning. And this one is moving east a little slower at 45 miles per hour. Let's double check. All right. It looks like there is a funnel cloud within that. Yep, okay. So it does look like we have some tight rotation. So that's moving east again at about that 45-mile-an-hour mark. Let's bring it back out here. If you are along, I can see exactly where that cell is going to go. There's that ramp here that goes right over Woodward, right? And if you go right along this ramp just to the east of Woodward, it's got that really long white fence that goes right along the edge here before you make that ramp onto 75. That's an area where this rotation is going to be moving over, where that traffic always gets backed up. That's that spot where it's going to move over, just to the north there of the main portion of Bloomfield Hills, because here's Telegraph, here's the ramp that goes all the way to 75. So Troy also included in this new tornado warning. This goes until 1:15. You can see where this little notch is formed with the center of green right in the middle. That's the point. That's the main one that we're looking at. Any type of debris signature here. There's a couple little spots that are trying to pop up within here, but there's so much feedback right now happening, it's hard to pin it down. It could be this little one right here, though, if something was on the ground. I'm not confident enough to make that call. Not at all. The one up in Lapeer was very easy to see. This one is not. So again, tornado warning there for central portions of Oakland County, northeast to Southfield, so up toward the Bloomfield Hills area. That's going to move its way to the east. Again, Livonia, Westland, very strong straight line winds there. May have that chance to rotate as it moves into much warmer air. Right along 96 here to where 96 and Telegraph cross. That's an area that's had a lot of warmer air and some higher humidity during the day. You may have a chance to strengthen it as it moves toward that, so something we have to look at here. Going up to the north, Lapeer County, checking in on that spot. All right, good. That's had a chance to dissipate. Good. So it looks like Lapeer County, you still have that tornado warning that goes until 1:30, but your area of debris has greatly shrunken. That's dissipated. Still in the warning. Doesn't take much for that rotation to kick back up again. That will have a chance to continue moving. This spot, very bright, just to the south of Thornville, east of Metamora, that bright spot right there will be heading along the southern edge of the warning, right near Dryden. That may be another area to look at. The point of tonight is each one of these severe thunderstorm warnings, you'll notice, you just saw this happen, can suddenly turn into a tornado warning very quickly. I want you to treat every severe thunderstorm warning as if it were a tornado warning. If you've never watched on CBS before and you have no idea who I am, I grew up here. All I know is Michigan weather. This is something we look at all the way through. So this is something I watched all the way since I was a kid. Stuff like this happens very quickly. So that's the reason we see a lot of these changing so quickly and why we're not going anywhere, because these cells pop up fast. Lapeer County, again, you can see that bright spot, like I said, moving out toward the Dryden area. In Oakland County here, east of Oxford, over toward the Oakland area itself, not much rotation. That's the good news. But the one again here where that notch has been, heading through Bloomfield Hills, that's a spot right here. You can see that. Continuing to move its way toward Troy. So that's the main reason we have this tornado warning here from Bloomfield Hills all the way off to the east. That will likely stay on the north side. Getting some good thunder here at the station now. West Big Beaver Road, it'll stay just to the north of that. Crossing Woodward, if it's not doing it already, it will be doing it here within about 30 seconds. That's how long it's going to take for that to cross that line. Going right down the south, right down basically Telegraph, strong area of straight line winds, moving right toward Telegraph. South of 96, here's Michigan Avenue. Dearborn is looking at it. Dearborn, Dearborn Heights, you've got Inkster here. Watch for these straight line winds to move in. If you are in these spots, you should be in a sheltered area as well, because the rotation has picked up quickly in each one of these spots, and that also has consistently showed signs of wanting to strengthen. Looking at the rest of Wayne County and even downriver, Monroe County, Lenawee County, you have nothing right now. And it doesn't look like you're getting anything either. Lenawee and Monroe counties, you are really just clear right now. There's not even anything to your west. So something to watch for is everybody up to the north. Wayne County, you can see that bright spot. We still have the tornado warning here for central Oakland. We have the tornado warning for northern Oakland. We have a tornado warning here for Lapeer, and another bright spot that just started to pop up right near I-69. It's giving me shades of actually a couple of years ago in August of 23. Don't see any debris, but that rotation is, well, that's real close. That's real close to it. It might not be lined up directly, but it's moving right on top of I-69 right now. That area of rotation is on I-69, south of Attica. Here's 53 in Imlay City. That's directly over the interstate. Please don't touch down. Please don't. That's going to move its way here right along the interstate over toward Imlay City. So if you're out this way, please make sure you're in your shelter right now. Do not drive, not the way this night's going. If you have to go somewhere, no you don't. Not right now. Not the way that these things have been able to spin up very quickly. So please, if you're in Lapeer County especially, you're in northern Oakland County, this tornado warning is hopefully going to expire soon. That goes until 1:15. It's 12:57. They might cancel it early. Central Oakland County right here. This one again, moving just over Woodward now, heading for the Troy area. No debris on the signature, not at the last check. But that's a little close right there with where we've got some of this popping up along with the rotation. It doesn't look overly tight. That's the good news. There's not that major tightening of it. But within that broad area, wouldn't be surprised again if we could get a brief little touchdown that could throw some leaves into the air. That'll be something to look at here as we go on into it. Watching the way this evolves here, continuing to the east, again, we've got a couple of different individual tornado warnings. For those of you that don't know, just give me one moment. Our meteorologist, Troy Bridges, has walked into the studio. Troy's going to hook up again with our EPs off to the side, get himself mic'd up, and then he'll join our coverage here in just a little bit. So he'll get all set there. But we do have, again, these couple of tornado warnings in the large area of very strong straight line winds. That cell here moving through Westland. This one here moving again toward the Troy area. You have a tornado warning in northern Oakland County, very broad. That rotation is smaller. That's not a big concern for me right now because it's not immediate, but I want you still in your sheltered areas in northeastern Oakland County, just for safety's sake. And then in Lapeer County right here along I-69, that area showing rotation right over the interstate. No spots popping up for anything on top of the interstate though. That's the good news. So we don't have anything being picked up. The reason I say that, August of 2023, we witnessed that out toward the Weberville area on I-96. We'd like to not witness that again. So that's the reason I keep watching that so closely, seeing that rotation over top of I-69. So again, if you think you have to travel tonight, no you don't. Northern Oakland County tornado warning has been canceled. Good. If you're in the Oxford area, you're in the clear. Anywhere north of Auburn Hills, you're in the clear of that as well, but you still have the regular storm going on, so keep that going. You have this one tornado warned cell again that's past Bloomfield Hills, moving toward the Troy area, right where 75 makes the jog. New severe thunderstorm warning here for Macomb County. Let's bring this back out. Right here, Macomb County and St. Clair counties as well. So we've got St. Clair County, 60-mile-an-hour winds, chance for a spin-up. Macomb County, 60-mile-an-hour winds, chance for a spin-up. The reason you keep seeing that, and the reason I keep saying that there's the chance for a spin-up is the same reason we got this warning. They happen so fast. Every severe thunderstorm warning we've had so far, except for Wayne County, has had a chance to turn into a tornado warning. And they have. That's the reason I keep saying tonight, I want you to treat every severe thunderstorm warning as if it were a tornado warning. You need to make sure you treat it that way, simply for the fact that they can change that quickly. And looking at where each one of these stronger areas of wind has moved through, every single one of us has ended up in the path of this at some point then tonight. You've got Ann Arbor, some stronger wind gusts in the southern portion of Washtenaw County, just along 23 southeast of Saline, over toward York. That'll head over toward Augusta. That's some stronger straight line winds there. We can go right on up to the north. Livonia is right in the midst of the stronger gust. So is Dearborn. You got Dearborn Heights right here, Ford Road, Michigan Avenue, Telegraph. Those are the main spots that you're seeing right there. You move a little bit more this way, of course, and you're going to end up with Dearborn High. You've got Fordson up this way. All of those spots are within this strong straight line wind that's tried to rotate a couple of different times. It hasn't made it all the way there, but it has had a chance to strengthen each time. These are the spots that we keep looking at. So again, if you're in Dearborn, basically all the way along Ford Road, Michigan Avenue, if you're within that spot, make sure you are within your shelter now. Basement is the safest portion of your home. If you don't have a basement, head to the centermost portion of your home that's away from windows. Usually there's a closet or an interior bathroom. Those are spots that are the safest if you do not have a basement. If you're in the Dearborn area, make sure you head to your shelter now for stronger winds that have tried to rotate, haven't made it all the way there, but it doesn't take much to get them that far. The Troy area, seeing the stronger winds moving through now, still not seeing anything drastic within there. Let's see what we've got right here. So again, yeah, it's these bright spots here. I wouldn't be surprised if that's hail. It doesn't look to be as strong as a debris signature. It doesn't. Nothing pops up that says debris for me here, but it's very strong, at least with the winds trying to try and couple it up right here. You got everything real close. That's past Troy. That's going to move its way off to the east, right toward the county line. It's been close enough. Sterling Heights, safety's sake, head to your basement now, please. Just each one of these has been so quick, moving at 65 miles per hour off to the east. That's been an issue here all the way through the night as soon as it started. Lapeer County, your main areas of rotation have died out. That's major good news, of course, right along the I-69 corridor there. Because while that continues to move its way to the east, we have to look, actually right there shows me really well where we've got likely some pretty good hail trying to drop. See this right here? This bright line that matches up with this little point here. Line it up with the radar. This is likely where we have some hail. That's a spike that we look at on radar, and it tells me we've got hail that may not be just the size of a pea or so. It's likely a larger size. So a couple of different things that we look at. We can tell a lot from more than just a regular Doppler radar image. So at the moment, we have a couple of different things to look at. The first of which is severe thunderstorm warning here for Sanilac County and St. Clair County. These go here until about 1:45 in the morning. Oakland County and Macomb County, these go until a little closer to about 1:15 to 1:45 for the warnings there. Wayne County, your warning goes until 2 a.m. for the strong straight line winds because you have another cell. Even once yours goes through, your main cell is in Ann Arbor right now. Once your thunder and lightning ends in the Detroit area and in the Dearborn area as well, you have another round. You are not done. This one right here in Washtenaw County is going to be the last one. We have one tornado warning. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to stick here on the air until the tornado warning is done. But also, we're going to continue to watch on the stream as well. Once that finally ends, we'll be able to jump back to that. But a lot of these stronger spots have really been trying to kick up here quite a bit as well. Let's see if we've got any more additional rotation. You can see that spot just to the east of Troy. This warning might be able to be canceled actually sooner rather than later. That might be a good one for us. So we're going to see if we've got anything more that pops up along that line aside from just the severe thunderstorm warnings, because they've all been around that 60 to 70. Latest update on the speed still shows actually about the same. So we're going to bring that on in right here as well.
Ahmed, I do have new information if you want that.
Perfect. Yep. Meteorologist Troy Bridges, come on in here. Actually, we can get you on in here as well.
Give you a bit of a breath here. I know you've been doing this all morning long. Yeah. So we have the one tornado warning for now, but you are also talking about this area near Ann Arbor.
Yes.
That's sort of bowing out. But I do have new information just coming in. This is from Ingham County, I believe that is. That's the emergency management. Lots of downed trees and reports of one semi-trailer flipped over, and that is also a tree tree on a house, and one car has a downed tree on it. So there is a number of debris. Again, that is in Ingham County. I believe I'm saying
Ingham
that
County,
correctly.
right
Yes.
there.
So
Bam.
that's what we're hearing about there. And of course, that is what is the same cells that have already moved through our area. And there's the chance that we could see some damage like that. So we're going to be watching for that.
And that was one of the cells that was actually rotating a little bit earlier that may have caused some of that damage. So it may be something we have to look at. This actually just popped up as well for us, this hail report in Macomb County. We were talking about some of these stronger ones a little earlier. And this is another one that just popped up in Macomb. So just shy of an inch, so near that severe limit as well.
And one thing you've been saying, I've been listening to you on my way in, is that we do need to treat a lot of these thunderstorm warnings as if they are tornado warnings, because within seconds, a lot of these can begin to rotate. And even in some of these cells that aren't tornado warned, there is enough evidence that this could be straight line winds. And we talk about those winds being just as strong, if not stronger, than winds from actual rotating cells. So you've been doing a great job, of course, pinpointing all of these tornado warnings that we've had. But this is the main tornado warning for now, and I know you're watching that for the rotation.
Yeah, and one of the things we've been looking at too, and I mean, you can back me up on this a little bit here, sometimes we get these little eddies that we get within these lines, and that's where we've seen some of these spin-ups that have been happening.
Yeah.
When you were on your way in a little earlier, you probably had a better chance to be able to see some of the lightning going on.
I did, and actually our tower, it looked like the lightning hit the top of our tower, so just as I was pulling into the parking lot here, I was wondering if our power was out and we were on generator power because it was a strike. But there are lots of lightning strikes all over the region. I drove in from the Royal Oak area, and it was raining a little bit, but we had a good bit of lightning.
Definitely. So within that, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about 2,000 lightning strikes per 15 minutes was the average. You just heard from Troy. It's been a strobe light show out there all the way through the night.
Tons of lightning out there. Certainly a dangerous setup. And now you're looking at this. Yes.
Yep, so we've got a couple different spots. So we've been talking about some of these warnings, how they've got the 70. You just said as well that some of these severe thunderstorm warnings are stronger than the baseline stuff.
Right. Baseline 60 miles per hour. So above that, 75 miles per hour. Remember, that is hurricane force winds. When you talk about the lower end of a hurricane is 74 plus mile per hour winds. So you know that is damaging wind. And we've already had those reports in other counties to our west with damage to trees down on cars. We've had reports of even a semi flipped. So this is major wind in these storms, even in areas where we may not necessarily have a tornado warning on them.
Absolutely. And within these little spots, you know, something that I showed all of you a little earlier, these brighter areas where it shows that stronger tightening of rotation, we match that up with where we see wind going away or toward the Doppler radar. It's broad. It's very, very broad, but you can see a little bit trying to brighten up right here. That's just north of Augusta. That's going to head mainly actually, so you can see it's east of Saline, south of Ypsilanti. There's Van Buren Township, so Belleville right in here, Belleville Lake. If you're in the Belleville area, probably not a bad idea to head to your shelter.
Absolutely.
Definitely along with that.
Rotation there for sure, because we talk about those winds going into and away from the radar site. That's an indication of rotation. And of course, Ahmed's been pointing that out throughout the morning in that area as well right now. So again, we could see this rotation, this minimal rotation in many of these storms that could quickly really start to spin and really lead to a tornado on the ground. We've had some confirmation, right?
Yeah, we had
tornado on the ground.
We had a couple actually on the west side of the state. One that was in downtown Battle Creek. That was one of them. There is some damage out that way. The report you just gave, actually from out toward the Lansing area, matches up very well with where there was another tornado warning and potential rotation. The one right here that was for central Oakland County, that will likely be canceled sooner than the 115 mark, unless they just let it run its course.
And right here in
there's a very real
Southfield,
chance.
we're hearing on top of our studios a lot of very heavy rain coming down. We can hear it now. You were saying you were hearing the sirens possibly earlier from right here, and that's because, not necessarily because of the tornado, but because of the straight line winds.
Bingo. And a lot of those, again, like we were showing you with some of those warnings where they say 70 miles an hour, that's, again, that's stronger than baseline storm. They'll sound the sirens for that kind of thing. I mean, it definitely pops up a little bit. If we can actually pop this up full screen for everybody at home, that'll be good for them to be able to see some of the radar imagery here and go through that. Troy, I'm going to let you jump on over to the computer and kind of walk people through what's going on radar, and I'm going to see if I can check in with a couple of our chasers real quick.
Absolutely. So I've heard that you've been talking to some of the chasers in the past. What have you heard so far?
A lot of those funnel clouds within those tornado-warned storms. That's one of the things that we have seen is several more funnels, and that one with the potential damage, the debris up in Lapeer County has been something to really watch along I-69, but that one has been canceled. So you really have central Oakland and then the other warnings for the strong straight line winds.
Okay, so the one here for central Oakland, we are taking you right into that cell. This is the tornado warning. Again, this goes until 1:15, so that's another 5 minutes from now. That's for areas just north of Birmingham, moving closer to Sterling Heights. So we're going to track this one for you and move it out. As I do that for you, we're going to turn that on and get the track going for you with the cone. Again, this, as we look at some of the velocity first, let's check that out and see where we could see some of that rotation. Again, as Ahmed was just pointing out, where we could see a tornado, more likely those straight line winds would be anywhere in this line here. Of course, there's a little bit of a notch, as Ahmed was pointing out earlier, right there on top of Sterling Heights. Again, this is all moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour. So right now, I'm going to turn on the Doppler so you can see exactly what's happening out of velocity mode. And then I'm going to sort of draw out that line, because I think that's going to be a big concern here as I zoom in first. Let's clear that out. And I'm going to zoom in quickly to that region as we go into that right here. And again, we're talking about this area of Oakland County, just on top of Sterling Heights. As we try to track this one for you, we're going to move it out and show you that cone. So again, anywhere in this area moving off at about 45 miles per hour. 30 to 40 miles per hour. Areas like Troy within 4 minutes, areas like Sterling Heights within 15 minutes, Clinton Township within 25 minutes. Again, you're going to at least see some of those stronger winds. There's a possibility that we could see some of those straight line winds that we're talking about. But again, this goes until 1:15. We're only a couple minutes away. They may actually let this expire. Again, this is the only tornado warning as of now. We had one in Lapeer County earlier. That was just now recently expired. But we also see this line of storms, a severe thunderstorm warning for areas like Sandusky, stretching down south of Sandusky. Again, the chance for a couple of those stronger wind gusts. Not seeing a real indication of straight line winds with this, but again, moving closer to areas like Sanilac and areas south of there like Worth. So as I draw out the squall line here and we move it off to the east, I'm going to try to back this up just a little bit. I think we need to clear that out and back up.
They keep
so
going so fast.
They are going
catching me off guard.
So fast here. Again, close to 45 miles per hour is the movement on this line here. So as I draw that out, I need more space. So I draw that out off to the east at about 45 miles per hour so that you have a good idea of when this will likely move in your area. So areas like Birchville by 1:21, just a couple of minutes from now. Also White Rock by 1:39. Again, that would be a severe thunderstorm warning. This is not a tornado warning. That would be just some possible winds that could gust up closer to 60 miles per hour, possibly some winds gusting even greater than that. So we're going to watch that closely. As I widen up this view, again, there's that line, tons of lightning. As Ahmed was saying, I was driving in seeing tons of lightning. It looked like we had a lightning strike right on top of our tower here in Southfield. But again, the one concern has been this tornado warning. Only one tornado warning left, at least for now, in Oakland County, and that goes until officially 1:15 in the morning, including areas like Troy and Sterling Heights. But it does show real signs of weakening now, Ahmed. It doesn't look like that warning is going to last.
No, I mean, they definitely need to let that just expire here in about 2 minutes. And the second they do that, we're going to jump off of the TV then and stick with our stream, as long as there's no other tornado warnings. Let's jump through the velocity and make sure we don't have any spots that are popping up here, because we'll be able to stick with the stream for a while. Aside from that one warning, what's that one actually? Go all the way up to the northeast here. Northeastern Macomb County going into St. Clair. That little spot that actually might be starting to pop up a little bit more. So if you're wondering, we're looking at this bright red spot that's popping up in northeastern Macomb, out near the Memphis area. What highway? That's M19?
Yes, M19, Memphis, yeah.
So just to the east of there, so from Memphis all the way over toward the Columbus area, might not be a bad idea, honestly, to head to your sheltered area now, because that's starting to brighten up quite a little bit.
So it's this line right here, this little notch that we've been talking about. Again, I need to widen this shot up because it is moving so quickly. We're talking about...
They don't normally move this fast. They genuinely don't. That's what is probably the trickiest part tonight.
Yeah, often 20 to 30 miles per hour would be the movement. So as we widen this up so that we can see just how far this is going to go, I'm going to track this for you here with the cone, and I'm going to drag that out about 45 miles per hour. So areas like Memphis within 2 minutes, not seeing a tornado, but there is the possibility possibility that this could rotate, not confirmed tornado, but a possible tornado. Again, on top of Columbus within 8 minutes, also there for Rattle Run by 12 minutes, areas like Port Huron within 25 minutes. That is if this holds together. Again, we are seeing that little notch right there. Ahmed pointed it out as we are in velocity mode. I'm going to zoom in now so that you can see what I'm talking about. Again, it's that little area where you see the bright color, the sort of pinkish color in that red. That is where there could be some real rotation as we take you into velocity mode just to the south of Memphis along M19. Again, if you're in that area, as Ahmed said, even though this is not a confirmed tornado, we do advise you to go to your safe place. That would be the interiormost portion of your home, away from glass, away from windows, often under a stairwell if you do not have a basement. But if you do have a basement, a good idea to do that. Again, this is not a confirmed tornado, but we are seeing some indications that it could.
Yep, and that's one of the things, if you can see on the box right there for the warning where it says at the bottom, threat tornado possible.
Yes.
The reason they add that is because we've seen these quick spin-ups so often throughout the night. They happen very rapidly. Sometimes they're only for about 30 seconds and then the signal goes away. But that's the reason they have that included in some of these warnings. And these bright spots, when they come up, that's why we take it so seriously, because it's now a track record of the entire night. We have had several different warnings in our area alone and multiple touchdowns on the west side of the state. And like Troy said, there is a flipped over semi out toward the Lansing area. A lot of these are very strong. And now we've got this larger cell that's moving into western Wayne County.
Right, I'm going to track that. Now, again, they did let that expire. That one tornado warning has expired that we were just talking about in Oakland County. So now we're talking about all severe thunderstorm warnings. But as Ahmed has told you throughout the night, it is a good idea with these storms being this strong to consider them as if they are tornado warnings just because of the intensity of these lines. So as I turn velocity on here again and show you this line, you can see again that sort of bowing. It's like a bow and arrow, a bow there. We call it a bow echo almost, and that's what we're showing here, looking like it could definitely produce some straight line winds. We're talking about winds greater than 60, close to 75-mile-per-hour winds likely when you talk about some of these straight line winds coming through. So I'm going to use our squall line here and draw this out. Again, hopefully I have enough space to move it out. There we go, to about 45 miles per hour. So as we do, this line not producing a tornado, but looking like it could produce strong winds up to hurricane force winds, possibly 70 to 75 mile per hour winds. So Westland by 1:20 this morning, just a couple of minutes from now, you will see that strong line of winds moving through. Could lead to damage, could lead to trees down. That's going to be Detroit proper within a few minutes at 1:41, Taylor by 1:32, and therefore areas to the south and east, rather, off to the east to Tecumseh by 1:57. Again, this is not a tornado, no longer under a tornado warning, but we are tracking that line that is quite likely, possibly producing strong winds that could lead to some real damage as we talk about that area in even in Monroe County, not under a warning, but that's definitely a line that could be producing some stronger winds.
Yeah, and you've basically been in the clear in Monroe County for most of the night, but as those try and move their way in, they're real ragged, but they can get some stronger gusts out there. The good news is Lapeer County, your severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled now for the night. We have Wayne County, eastern Washtenaw County, you've got Macomb County, St. Clair, and Sanilac counties. Those are the only warnings left as we go on into the night. There might be a spot trying in southern parts of St. Clair County right there.
Yeah, there we go. We're looking right there.
That's a very bright area.
Closer to 94, moving off to the east.
Let's bring in the CC right there and see if anything's popping up for it. Oh, it's real cluttered to try and see that.
Yeah.
It's real close, but I mean that was a very strong area of rotation. If you're in St. Clair County, that's the one we've been talking about around Columbus. You
right
need to be in cover, especially out toward the Port Huron area.
So definitely right there on top of Columbus, we're drawing a circle around you. That is an area where we are concerned. Again, the greatest concern is for this area because even though this is not a definite tornado, we do have a possibility of rotation, looking good signs here of rotation with this cell. So I'm going to draw this out for you so you see where it's headed and who may see this in, this is going to be in St. Clair County. And this officially goes until 1:45, this severe thunderstorm warning, but there could be an issued tornado warning at any moment, just as we look at that one little area that could try to start to rotate. What do you think, Ollie?
That's real tight. I'm actually kind of surprised there isn't a warning right now. Genuinely, if you're in the Columbus area or even Port Huron, all the way over toward the river right now, you need to be in shelter. Marysville, get to your shelter now. It's a very tight area of rotation within that spot. Genuinely, we may see a warning issued there really any time with how strong that position is. I'm trying to see if I don't believe we have any spotters out in that direction right now. All of them were actually based off to the west, so we've gotten a lot of information from them. They're off in some of the western counties at the moment, but that is a very bright area of rotation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's been moving through.
And this is the area that Ahmed's been talking about. Right here, you can see that bright color. We've got all these reds here. This is on our velocity mode. As you see that deeper red around this brighter white, that would indicate a chance for rotation, or what we think is possible weak rotation at least. And so Ahmed just said that there's a decent chance that this could be a warned tornado at any point. So this is the time to take that shelter, that safe place, find that place within your home. If you are inside your home, of course, the best place to go is going to be the basement, but anywhere interior in your home, away from glass and away from windows. So right on top of Columbus now, I believe it's moving probably just off to the east of Columbus, looking more like right on top of Columbus. So as I back this up, I'm going to again track this for you with our cone tracker here so that you know where it would be heading next. Again, moving quickly, that's good news that it would be moving at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So areas like Port Huron, within 17 minutes, there's the chance that you would see a rotating cell. Again, this is a possible tornado, not a confirmed tornado, and not even a warned tornado. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that goes in effect until 1:45 this morning. So that's the cell we're watching most. That's the one cell in the whole area that we're most concerned about.
It is. As soon as we get our next scan, hopefully here within the next 90 seconds, we'll be able to actually let you go, and at least in part. But I mean, the way that that's that strong within that cell, I do not want to let that go just yet. That's really a stronger spot as it moves its way over toward Marysville. It really, really is something we need to keep an eye out for. Looks like they're issuing a marine warning there for the water as that continues to head in that direction for a lot of the stronger straight line winds. Again, that matches in with the stronger straight lines. Wayne County now still again with that one stronger storm that's moving on into this county there. 60-mile-an-hour winds. And again, Macomb County, you've still got that warning. All of those for stronger straight lines and the potential for rapid spin-ups, which is something that we've seen actually going on through the night. It really has been a concern actually going on through it. One thing I'm going to step on in here real quick as well. I want to point something out because this, you see these little lightning strikes that are happening a little farther ahead of the line? Obviously, it's the middle of the night, and it's something that we continue to look at. But these are those strikes that we always warn you about when we say when you hear thunder, head indoors. When you hear that, you want to make sure you stay indoors, away from windows. These are those reasons. You can see the estimated arrivals for the storm as it moves in, but the main portion of the line right here is not in that section. These strikes happen out ahead of that. Those are the ones that we always want to warn you about because they can cause so many issues. It's a big safety risk. That's the reason we want you not just indoors, but also at this time of night, away from windows and in a safer spot. We've seen a lot of these storms strengthen quickly. We've seen them rotate quickly. They've gone from severe thunderstorm to tornado warning in moments. That's the reason we're doing this. It's been happening all night. There are spots that have significant damage all the way out toward Lansing and also out toward Battle Creek is another one. We have had a touchdown, it looks like, in Lapeer County. I have a couple of damage reports out of there. We may have had a brief touchdown in central Oakland County outside of Bloomfield Hills. We're going to look into some of those down tree limbs also, but a lot of that matches up. And then this is that spot that Troy's again been zooming in on out by Columbus. Looks like we're getting that next scan in finally, too.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's moving very much. It looked like it weakened just a tiny bit, don't you think?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it finally had that chance to weaken down a little bit more, but until this line gets that chance to cross, these things have had a chance to spin up so quickly. Let's bring this back full again for people at home so they can see this a little closer. This data, by the way, that we're looking at, it's called velocity data. It shows that inbound and outbound. You can see the top of your screen right there, the upper left, where it shows the reds, where it says away. That shows the air moving away from the Doppler radar, which is based in White Lake. The greens or blues, when those pop up, that's the air moving toward it. We plug in the gap, and that's where we can see areas of rotation, which is what Troy is showing you right there.
things that we like to track, of course, within those cells. It shows us a lot, more than just where an area might be spinning. We can see things like debris. We can see things for where it's tightening up. You can see things like hail, a lot of different stuff within these different views. And we do this because it's been happening so quickly throughout the night. That's the reason we've been on top of this all the way through.
So areas like St. Clair, within 7 minutes, again, seeing the chance for that rotating cell. It is moving. It is picking up a little bit of speed, so it's moved away from Columbus now, no longer there. It was right on top of you in Columbus, that little area of rotation now just to the south and to the east of Columbus, due east of Snyderville, and that's moving right into areas like St. Clair. Again, as we just pointed out, this area here where you see that brighter white with the red all around it, and then you see some greens here, it just shows that the wind is higher you go within this storm cell. We are seeing those winds changing direction, so that is an indication of some rotation. Not a tornado warned storm, but there is the possibility of at least some strong damaging winds, and there's the possibility that at any moment, as Ahmed has said, that this little area moving closer to St. Clair could start to rotate and lead to a tornado warning. So as we turn on all of our lightning again here, as I go back to our Doppler mode, we've seen a lot of lightning. Look at that. Hard to see much else when you look at this.
It's a strobe light show. It's absolutely a strobe light show.
Driving in, I saw that it did hit our tower. I guess our tower's fine.
Tower's good.
But it did look pretty dangerous out there seeing all that lightning. So if you are out and about, try to get inside. Maybe you're listening to us on the stream like I was in my car. Make sure that you get home and get into a safer place before this line reaches you, especially in areas like Detroit on down to Brownstown. This is that line that's moving on through. This is a ragged line, jagged a bit, as Ahmed was saying, not seeing a real indication that this is going to be a straight line wind situation, but within this area there could be some wind gusts that could lead to some damage.
And the good news is that just off to the left of that cell, the one in Washtenaw County, that warning, they're not going to cancel it early because it expires here in a couple moments. In about 4 minutes, the Weather Service tells us directly, they're going to let that stronger severe thunderstorm warning expire. It'll be done there at 1:30. So Wayne County, Macomb County, and St. Clair County will be the only ones left. We're almost in the clear. These have had a chance, again, remember, to spin up so quickly, we may as well just stick with this until the very end because it's been such a concern, and it has happened now almost half a dozen times in the Metro Detroit area alone, with potentially what, at least to my eyes, look like potentially 2 touchdowns, one in Oakland County and another one in Lapeer County, and that's just our area. There may be more, of course, on the west side of the state. It looks like that may have been likely. We actually have a report from the Grand Rapids office that one of the news stations in Lansing may have actually recorded some damage.
Okay.
It looks like their satellite dishes may have actually recorded some damage there.
And
so,
some tree limbs down.
Yep.
We see some limbs all over their parking lot.
Tree limbs tossed there.
And we've heard reports in the past out west of a lot of trees down in certain areas, even a semi flipped in one region. Where was that semi flip?
That was out in Ingham County as well.
County.
I'm wondering if we have any additional reports that have been coming on in. Let's see if we've got any new ones. So a couple of hail reports out toward Flint and then in Macomb County, some damaged ones out toward the Lansing area. But in our area, because the storms are still occurring at this moment, there haven't been any damage surveys yet, so those reports will likely come in a little while. We don't have those at the moment, but we are getting some reports in. They're just unofficial right now. We don't want to give you unofficial information. We're going to stick with the facts. We're going to stick with what we've got, including obviously the warnings we still have. The Washtenaw one expiring here in about 2 minutes.
So you're talking about these warnings. We have one at 1:45 that expires, 1:45, a couple of them, and then one warning that goes until 2 a.m. And I believe that's the one for Wayne County that goes until 2 a.m. And so this was just as you predicted all day yesterday, Ahmed, that we would see this stuff move out by close to 2 a.m., definitely by 3 a.m. it would be over with. So this big line is moving through. The good news is as it's moved closer to us, we are seeing some signs of weakening.
Definitely. We actually just had a couple of our screens and monitors here.
Because of all this
was
lightning.
Loud thunder. There it is. Our tower, I believe, just took a hit, so we may have just gone to generator power
because we had a lot of lights and everything blinking here just a moment ago. So that is definitely rolling its way through. The big issue, obviously, we say things like, stay away from windows.
Yeah.
You've got lightning and thunder, but you can get a lot of issues with the wind. You want to make sure you're indoors, away from windows. And if you're sitting, for instance, in your basement, where we've been telling you to treat these severe thunderstorm warnings as if they were tornado warnings, if you can't watch us on TV, you can watch us on the app, the CBS News app, Pluto TV, CBSDetroit.com. We're there for free. We're on there all the time. That's the main spot you can grab us. If
lose power and you can't watch us on TV, we may have just taken another power
Yeah,
hit.
it looks like we have taken a hit. Looks like we're back up here and there. We are still watching a new scan that just came through. Of course, that one area that we've been watching that looked like it could rotate is
to cross
just
the river
south.
now.
Yeah, just south of St. Clair. Looks like it's moving out of the area altogether
That's
in St. Clair
good.
County.
All right, so that one's moving its way out. It looks like we've got just a couple of warnings down to the south. How's the Wayne County one looking?
Wayne County right now, there it
almost
is.
to the river.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, with a couple of the spots that we've got, let's leave this up large right now.
Okay.
Walk through this one more time, just one last look. We've got the good storm here in Wayne County, but that's moving its way to the east. The gusts are at the shoreline. The one in Macomb County is clearing the lake right now. The one in St. Clair County is already crossing the river. We have some storms, but they are now down to baseline. They are not at the higher limit. Our tornado warnings are done. You see the power hit, we're actually getting that still right now. We keep getting these power hits, so we're going to be watching that. But we are now, because we've got a lot of this stuff, we're going to track this off here. We're going to let you go. So we're going to jump off both your TV set. We're going to jump off the stream. We're going to end our coverage here for the night because I do believe that a lot of this stuff is going to clear on out. We're almost completely in the clear, and I think we're good to go. So make sure, again, you keep an eye on the storm activity here for us. We're going to watch things as well. But for now, we're going to end our coverage here at CBS News Detroit. Thanks again for sticking with us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ahmed Badji. This is Meteorologist Troy Bridges. He will be here starting at 5 a.m. So make sure you join him there, and he'll have all the updates for you then. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe tonight.
Now, from CBS News Detroit, this is a Next Weather Alert update.
The storm that brought this tornado to Wisconsin is moving through central Michigan right now. Western parts of the state have already had several tornado warnings with winds exceeding 80 miles per hour.
You can bet we're watching it closely. This is a live look at the radar. You can see that strong line of storms sweeping across the state. Good evening and thank you for joining us on Terrence Friday.
I'm Shayna Humphreys. We're here with Chief Meteorologist Ahmed Badji, and you've been talking